And, you know, she might be the one that could get home. But, gee, I do like number 1. I thought he looked beautiful going down. Staging number 4, that ran a very good race. There's Greg. There's just something not quite right here. I noticed the new stalls, they've got a lot more padding on them than the old stalls. Dan, it's a big thing when often a horse will rear over backwards with you or something, the jockey will get jammed against the back, and on those steel bars you can get hurt. But they certainly, they're well padded. You can just see the green in the background. While we've got a bit of time, Dan, I'd like to send a real good cheerio to Lance O'Sullivan. I know he'll be watching the 10 broadcast of this race. Lane Rossby had a terrible fall last week at Moonee Valley. Horse took on the running rail with him and smashed through it, and Lance unfortunately broke his left leg.
And I must admit he might be missing out on a horse who's got a great chance in the Melbourne Cup too, Viali, the horse he would have ridden in the Cox Plate that finished 3rd, and Viali is expected to run in the Melbourne Cup on Tuesday, although the Japan Cup is also the possibility.
Yes, yeah.
Okay, there's more money exchanging hands. Tim Gossage in the betting ring.
Thank you very much, Dan. Yes, more money for Dan Talar. It's coming along very strongly. Special Dane still the pronounced favourite, but Dan Talar still plenty of money in the ring.
Thanks, Tim.
It's interesting to note, Dan, we've got the aluminium rails all the way down, but on where these horses will race the first, say, 200 metres of this race, it's the old wooden rail that we used to ride in the days when I started. There's the aluminium rail there. When you go back further towards the starting stalls, and you can see the old wooden rail there. They don't bend. Well, these you can see, there's the old wooden rail. You hit one of those, you used to know about it.
So you're not wrong.
They don't bend.
Now, Greg Hall standing in the gates. Now, the changes to gear, when we say change, they've just adjusted, obviously, well, the breastplate's her single girth, Gary.
Yes, it might have just slipped a little bit forward when he was doing his swimming, because you can pull a bit. And, you know, they would have just moved the saddle back in position. Greg will get back on board, and they won't be very long.
The Chivas Regal is a Group 3 race over 1,200 metres, a field of 8. And they're all set to go now. Second event on Derby Day, 1997. Track officially rated as slow. And they're racing all. Cornwall Queen, she jumped in the air at the start, nearly tipped Greg Hall out. One of the first to jump away was Dan Talar, who's going to cross over. Special Dane is going with it. And they're all coming down the grandstand side of the track here. Accused is up into about 4th spot. Trader Vic was quite handy. Command Post, Spy King, and Cornwall Queen is back about last. But they are well grouped. It's Trader Vic going up on the inside of Dan Talar as they run down towards the 900. It's Trader Vic in front now. Dan Talar second. Special Dane was third, but only a half a length further back. Then Staging, now ridden along, it's 4th, followed by Cornwall Queen from Accused, Spy King and Command Post. Inside the 600, Trader Vic is hard up against the outside rail. It led narrowly here from Special Dane. Dandelion just held up behind them now, Staging working into it, and then Accused and Cornwall Queen inside the 400. And Trader Vic is about a half a length in front of Special Dane. Staging under the whip, and Dandelion getting into the clear. Special Dane hit the lead. Dandelion's after it, then Staging and Trader Vic. The leader, Special Dane, with 200 to go. Dandelion is after it fast. It's Special Dane and Dandelion. Special Dane, Dandelion finishing hard the filly. She took the lead. Dandelion near the line from Special Dane and Dandelion. Dandelion's one it ahead. Special Dane second, about 5 away. Third would be Accused, just in front of Staging, and then Trader Vic, Cornwall Queen. Next home would have been Command Post, and back at the rear of the field was Spy King.
Well, Dandelion certainly won well, Dan, but back before the 400 metres in this race, I've never seen a horse going as easy as what Dandelion was. Jim Cassidy was actually having trouble keeping it off Special Dane's heels, and Trader Vic, he was really checking the horse. It was just bolting behind them, and I've run good time again, 1:12.2, and as I say, this track's pretty good.
8, 1 and 6 are the numbers. Dan Talar, Special Dane and Accused. So 8, 1 and 6, and they were the approximates on the screen. Well, she was jogging behind them, wasn't she?
It'll be interesting to go back if we can just have a quick look at that. She's just sort of come out from behind them here, but just before that, just before the 400, she was just going so easy, and Jim Cassidy was, I was going to say, gee, this horse isn't going to get a run down the outside, but Jim has switched back inside. Greg Childs on Special Dane in the blue colours, and it's Jimmy on the grey just getting to work here. And I thought Special Dane was going to hold her here, but the filly certainly gave her best here and really stuck her head out.
They drew right away from the others. I thought Staging was disappointing. Trader Vic weakened. He did go straight to the lead. And Dandelah's done a great job, and Special Dane was ridden quite confidently too. And look how far they've streeted the others by, Gary.
Oh, it's been a great run. Dan, I said before we were down on the track, that wind, it's a really westerly wind. And I think, here's a good shot of them here. Now you can notice Jimmy Cassidy with the arrow on him here. He's actually having trouble holding Dandelah behind these horses. And you can see he's moved ahead. He can't get through there. He's got to come back. She's got a ton of horse under him here. She's just trotting. And I was just going to say before, with Greg Childs facing the breeze all the way, that often makes the difference. Jimmy's been able to get the cover on Dandelah. He's come out from behind her here. He's 3 from the outside fence. Trader Vic's dropping off. Special Dane. Greg Childs just had a look at Jimmy Cassidy. And Jimmy's most probably saying, I've got you here.
8, 1 and 6 officially. 4th was Staging. 5th in Trader Vic. I noticed Cornwall Queen come out of the gates very awkwardly and gave Greg Hall a pretty tough time. But Dandelah, the money was spot on there, Pete. We're just having a look at the start of the race. Look at barrier number 5 there for Cornwall Queen.
Often when it's been raining a bit, Dan, the track's a little bit soft under them. When they jump, her feet might have just gone. You can see her go down here. Yeah.
She's dipped. Sprawled and didn't help her chances. Pete, the money spot on. Dandelah beating Special Dane.
Yes, and trainer Paul Perry is quite a happy man, Dan, and well he might be. That was impressive, Paul.
Yeah, it was a good win, Peter, wasn't it? You know, she always travelled in behind the leader, and just looked a matter of getting it out in there clear, didn't it?
Important in those straight races to get some cover, and Jimmy did a 10 out of 10 job there.
Yeah, that was sort of his plan going out. You know, he said he'd love to get a tuck in behind something, so it worked out good.
She's taken the step up in class well. She was impressive at Caulfield. She's taken the next step. How far will she go?
Oh, Peter, she's one of them sort of had a bit of a checkered passage, you know, through injury, and, you know, probably she's missed the better races all the way through, you know, so, oh, mate, I reckon, you know, she's got a bit of a future, I think.
We might have something to look forward to in the autumn.
Yeah, certainly.
Paul Perry, congratulations.
Yeah, thanks, Peter.
The winning trainer after race 2, Paul Perry, and let's take a look at the replay of the start. In fact, we just saw that with Cornwall Queen coming out of the gates very awkwardly indeed. And they did have a problem with the girth of that horse behind the gates. So Greg Hall just experiencing a few problems there, and you can see them all heading for the outside of the track, and that's, as we said, in the small field there was never any doubt that that was going to happen. But even in the bigger fields, I think that'll probably be happening later on this afternoon in the Salinger Stakes. Okay, the numbers in the second event, 8, 1 and 6. Dandelah, Jimmy Cassidy back in the winner's circle again. Special Dane, Greg Childs second. Accused, Darren Gauci third. Back with the correct weight and the dividends after this. Signal. They're on race number 2 on the card, numbers 8, 1 and 6. And the winner there, Dandelah, quite impressive. Special Dane second. They drew right away from the others with Accused number 6 in the third placing. And with the correct weight signal, Dan, here are the totes on race 2.
$5.40 is the win dividend, and $1.60 the place for Dandelah, number 8. Second one, Special Dane, $1.20, and 6 Accused, $4.60. Quinella paid $6.20. The trifecta, $231, and the race-to-race double returned $32.60. 8, 1 and 6. Repeating, the time was 1:12.2. It was a half a neck by 3 lengths.
So the correct weight signal brought to you there by Whitman's, and an impressive win by Dandelah. Now we're coming up to the third race on the card, Jen, and this is the Lean Cuisine Quality, and it's a rather unusual place for this race. We're quite used to seeing it as the last race on the card.
Yes, it normally is too, Pete, but it's an interesting race considering, of course, the horses for the Melbourne Cup on Tuesday.
There you see the tote call. Scrupulous is in the betting. Dark Sale's not without a little chance. Buzz Off is also in the betting. We'll take a look at that race very shortly, but in the meantime, they're set for the presentation after race 2. Again, here's Rob Galen.
Yes, it's time for presentations for the Chivas Regal, a Group 3 event, and representing the VRC, Mr. Robert Hunter. To begin our presentations, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Paul Adams, Marketing Director of Seagram Pacific, Seagram Australia Proprietary Limited.
Thank you very much, Rob. Last night was the Australian Liquor Industry Awards, and we were absolutely thrilled that Chivas Regal was voted the best premium spirit in Australia for 1997. We were thrilled. We are also thrilled at Chivas Regal to be sponsoring this fabulous race on this wonderful day and this outstanding Melbourne Racing Carnival. And on behalf of Chivas Regal, it's a real pleasure to present to Mr. Steve Marshall this wonderful trophy. Steve, congratulations on preparing this afternoon's winner.
Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Well done to the connections of Dan DeLar, and well done to Jimmy Cassidy too, who's riding in great form, of course, having won the Caulfield Cup on might and power. I think we're going to get sunstroke here in a minute.
It's absolutely beautiful, isn't it? The sun's come out. There's a few clouds hanging around, but we might be very lucky here.
Let's go back to that third race, Jen, and as we have a look at the tote call, we'll go through your thoughts. I thought that Grandmaster, Bart Cummings has got him in the Melbourne Cup, so obviously he's got some ability, and if he is to be a chance in the Melbourne Cup, well, he's got to win this, surely.
I think he's coming good at the right time too, Peter. His last win was very, very good, and he's only a young horse, fairly lightly raced. He must be left there with a chance. On top, I've put number 1, Scrupulous, Grandmaster second, number 6, and number 2, Dark Czar, the old horse. He goes well here.
He'll appreciate a bit of the cut out of the ground. That's race 3, the Lean Cuisine Handicap, and that is due to commence at 12:45. So there you have the selections. Scrupulous from Jen. Richard Friedman has also gone for Scrupulous, and for John Letts and myself, it's Grandmaster. Sandra, the third event on the card, Lean Cuisine quality, due to commence at 12:45. We'll see when the horses come into the mount again.
Thank you, Peter. Yes, Flemington is, of course, renowned for its fixation with fashions, and occasionally they even eclipse the races. This week we're showcasing the young designers of tomorrow rather than the more established designers, and their task this week has been to come up with, I guess, appropriate fashions for the week. Let's take a look now at our first young designing team.
The clothes definitely is linked with the signature. I mean, we're blessed in that our clothes are easily recognisable without having to, resort to tricks or shock tactics. The outfit that was created for Derby Day basically speaks in dualities, in double tongues. It pays homage to a very constructed and very elegant kind of pertinent past. But the methodology that's gone behind the construction of the gown is very technological, so it kind of, waves goodbye to a past and kind of embraces a future. It's like poetry to me. I mean, we name every collection, we name every garment, and that's because you have to try and give something that's lifeless some sort of soul. And by coining names or meanings to things, it ties up or sews up a collective meaning.
Fashions with very much a yesteryear feel by Oril Alijan. We've got plenty of other young designers to showcase throughout the week, plenty more fashions coming up. We should also mention, of course, the countdown is continuing to the 1997 Amy Victoria Derby. Just a few hours to go, a little under 2.5. Don't go away, we'll take a short break and be back with more in a moment. Flemington and of course Derby Day. We have lots of sports action in store for you over the next week. In particular, tomorrow we have the Melbourne Cup preview show, which includes our panel, Peter Donegan, Jenny, of course, Richard Freeman and Letzi. And we'll have the highlights of tonight's NBL final, the decider between the Magic and the Tigers. At 2 o'clock, the RPM Live, the API Rally Australia from Perth with Bill Woods and Barry Sheen. And at 3 o'clock, the API Rally Australia live from Perth, the pinnacle of the rallying year in Australia. So plenty of action coming your way this week on 10. Now, you know, the best advertisement for racing is the way families stick at the game for generation after generation. Let's take a look at the newest dynasty to hit the racing scene, the Highland family.
It's an all too rare occurrence these days that the whole Highland clan can gather for lunch, the demands of racing and other occupations as well being what they are. But when they do get together, it's generally a lively occasion. They might be family, but they're also, in some cases, adversaries.
We're in a competitive business and we're all sort of competitors, and yet we're all in the one family, and I think it just makes for good conversation.
Pat and Marie Highland have been married for 32 years. Mum's a bit camera shy. According to Pat, it's her only downfall.
She's the best. Yes, I met Marie when she was 16. Married her when she was 19, and yeah, we've had a marvellous life.
Chris is 28. He's followed the old man into the training caper.
I'm proud of the name, and I'm proud to be the old man's son, and I don't think I have too many worries. I sort of enjoy life, and I can't complain.
Formerly a jockey until nature took its course, 29-year-old Matthew is also now a trainer, of some note too.
It was always inevitable that I was going to get too big, so, you accept that early on, and then you look to, to take a different path, and that's what I've done.
And at 20 years of age, Samuel is carrying on the Highland tradition in the saddle.
Before the age of 15, I'd never been on a horse's back, so because I went to school at St Bede's College in Mentone and played golf after school most nights, and, I was pretty keen on being a professional golfer, but I didn't make the grade.
25-year-old Joanne also has a racing involvement. Her employer, Raceplay, is Moonee Valley's PR agency.
I actually wanted to be an actor, but somehow or other I just ended back in racing, so it must be in my blood.
But somehow the racing bug didn't really bite 30-year-old Paul. The eldest Highland offspring is in charge of the family's rose-growing business.
I suppose when I was about 13 years old, Dad said, you better go and get a job. And I think he was sick of having me around the house, so I went and got a job in a nursery, and I've been in the industry ever since.
And the youngest as well, 16-year-old Patrick, is looking towards a different career path than the one you might expect.
Don't mind working out on the land a bit with cattle, and I strap horses for a bit of money, Chris and Dad, but I don't want to make a future of it.
Matthew's wife, Kate, has simply had to learn the racing vernacular to be able to join in, sometimes to reminisce about one day especially, Cup Day 1985.
Joannette's girl further back from Fox Hill, Tripsica Mouse Fair still with a big job to do. What a nuisance in front of it.
Yeah, that was a pretty good day. Yeah, that was a pretty good day, Pete.
Hooray, Corrie Mayen, what a nuisance wins the fastest Melbourne Cup.
Yeah, I was running out of time. But What a Nuisance came along and sort of topped the whole career off.
12 years on, they're still together. What a Nuisance has the run of the property. For that grand old horse, and really for the whole Highland family, things aren't too bad at all.
If you don't have some bad times, you don't have the good ones are no good to you. So, yeah, I'm very proud of them.
So you should be. The weather is clearing here at beautiful Flemington. The atmosphere is building to the big race and, of course, all the races throughout the day. Lynn Talbot is on the members' lawn having fun with the ladies.
Have with me Philip Rhodes, milliner extraordinaire.
Oh, thank you, Lynn.
Have you liked what you've seen so far today?
Oh, yes, I think that despite the inclement weather, although it's spring weather, even though it is a bit rainy, people have still been brave and sort of kept with the original plan, although some people have also changed their plan and they look really good as well.
A lot of the hats you've designed have, in fact, not ended up on a race course, but in the theatre.
Yes, I was in London for 5 years and I did end up working in the theatre. I sort of fell into that and ended up doing like Miss Saigon and Les Miserables and even Phantom of the Opera. Yes, I did. It's true.
Now, do you find a lot of your clients come in with their garments already selected?
Yes, the best ones come in with the garments already selected, because the ones who don't think they'll buy the hat first, and we end up like chasing the football around the field, fumbling, trying to pick it up, and then till we finally run and make a solution. So I think, yes, the organised ones are the ones with the garment. We have a direction, and we like that.
Now, you're looking forward to being a judge on fashions of the field?
Oh, I cannot wait.
Mm-hmm. What will you be looking for?
I think we'll be looking for happy women and women who put it together well and really like themselves and get up there and sort of project something.
Well, just looking around today, Sandra, I think there's plenty to choose from. Plenty of happy faces.
Happy winners are grinners. Maybe they've won something.
Yes, winners are always grinners, and I do have a winner with me now, actually, Poppy King, who's a candidate for the Republican movement, the upcoming Constitutional Convention, but she's a winner in the cosmetics game as well. Let's start with the Republican movement. Number 4 on the Victorian ticket. Tell us about that.
Yes, well, it's something, Sandra, that I've been passionate about for a long time. For about the last 5 years, I think I've been doing a lot of public speaking about the Republican issue, and I really believe that Australia is such a wonderful country and that we should have an Australian as our head of state. That's my fundamental belief, and I really want to make sure that I'm there and my fellow Republican members are there as well to discuss these issues. We're not trying to change everything all at once. We just want to have an open debate, and so it's very exciting.
Now, when do people get a chance to vote for you? It's not far away.
No, well, the ballot papers are going out this week, and it is a voluntary vote, so I do urge people to get involved because we have a historic opportunity with the Olympic Games in the year 2000 to really have a look at our system of government. So I really do urge people, even though it is voluntary, to have a look into the issues and get involved and post off your vote.
All right, Poppy, we're almost out of time. In fact, we've got virtually no time left, but I understand you do want to mention a brand new lipstick on the market. Tell us quickly.
Yes, well, I've got a very exciting thing coming up called Poppy Nude, which is something that my chemist and I have come up with, which is a liquid lipstick, and that's coming out for Christmas, and it gives you that just stick to your lips look.
Okay, well, look, we wish you luck with the new lipstick, the new range, and of course the Constitutional Convention coming up.
Thank you, Sandra.
Thanks for joining us today. Let's cross now to Peter and Jenny in the mounting yard with all the details for race 3.
Thank you, Sandra. Jen is licking her lips in anticipation of a winner here in the third race.
I am, yes. 2 down and not one winner yet, but hopefully things can get better.
I reckon they're about to change now, Jen. We're at the Lean Cuisine Quality, an important lead-up race as far as the Melbourne Cup is concerned, and let's take a look at the runners in the mounting yard now. Starting off with number 1, Scrupulous, to be ridden by Damien Oliver for Jim Smith at Morfordville, and it was only a bob of the head that saw him beaten in the Geelong Cup.
Yes, and the start before that, Peter, it was a very slowly run race, and he got back to last, and it really didn't suit him in that type of race. He was perfectly ridden there at Geelong, and he is the Adelaide Cup winner in 1995, so he must be considered a good chance in this.
What about the old bloke, Jen? Number 2, Dark Czar. He's had 77 starts. He's won over $1 million in prize money. He finished 13th in the Geelong Cup after covering a bit of ground, but he'll appreciate just a bit of cushion in the track.
He raced up there on the pace there too, and I don't think that suited him. It's certainly not his normal racing style. I'll forgive him for that run, and I've left him there with a rough chance at fairly nice odds too, Pete.
Number 3, Buzz Off. Now, this horse has got as much ability as you'd like to have, but very rarely does he produce it. He must be a frustrating horse for connections. A couple of years ago, he was the Caulfield Cup favourite. This time in, he ran 5th at Geelong, got a long way back, was running on pretty well, but he's hard to catch.
He's very hard to catch, but he got a mile out of his ground also in the Canberra Cup. And I think his last 2 runs haven't been all that bad. He's had 2 wins here at Flemington, and he's certainly capable of better.
Number 4 is Crying Game, and this is a front-running stayer trained by Angela Johnson down at Geelong. Greg Childs is the rider. It's been around a few times.
He has, and he's the likely leader here as well. He led at Caulfield, and the jockey dismounted very quickly after they pulled up. It looked to be a problem for him, but here he is again, so all must be okay for him. The Western Australian Derby winner and also a Perth Cup winner, so hard to dismiss here.
Down in Monterey, number 5, Richard Friedman's favourite horse, is in line for the hat-trick here after wins at Canberra and Rose Hill, to be ridden by Jamie Whitney.
Well, he's another horse that does like to get out there and lead, and he did do that at Rose Hill at his last start. He's racing quite well. He's won his last 2, and he's a little chance in the race.
Well, Grandmaster is a bit of a Melbourne Cup hope, and maybe an omen here. Look at the colours he's carrying. Black, white checks and yellow sleeves, and they were carried by none other than Saintly when he won the Melbourne Cup last year. On to number 6, Grandmaster. Lenny Beasley, the rider, and Bart Cummings, the trainer, so he's going to have the stayers polish on, Jen.
Yes, another thing about this horse too, Peter, he was only beaten just over 2 lengths in the AJC Derby. I think he's come right at the right time. He's in the very capable hands of Bart Cummings, and I think he'll run very, very well today.
Round about the 14-1 mark on the tote, number 7, one man out, and the rider here is Brent Stanley for Graham Rogerson.
Well, he also does like to get out there on the pace as well. He led last start sitting 2 wide, and I thought he fought on quite okay at Randwick. Grandmaster was just far too good on the day, so maybe just a place chance for him.
I thought Backslapper had a bit of an each-way hope here. He pulled his head off at Caulfield, had to go to the front, and then he boxed on really well.
Yes, it wasn't a bad effort there. He does try hard in his races, this fellow too, but I just wonder whether or not he's good enough. I'll leave him just a place chance in this.
And Jimmy Cassidy, the winner of the previous race, rides number 9, Propaganda here, and he's about the 18-1 mark on the tote.
Well, he won on protest 2 starts ago, and then he sat just off midfield at his last start and didn't really do much in a fairly slowly run race. I just have a little class doubt about him in this race.
OK, so summing up?
1, 6 and 2, Scrupulous, Grandmaster and Dark Tsar.
Righto, well, I've gone for Grandmaster. Dan, what about the tote figures as they go to the stalls?
Well, Peter, the favourite is Grandmaster, number 6 at $3.50. Field of 8 in this race. Scrupulous at $5.50 has been easy on track. $4.70 for number 3, Buzz Off. Wonder if there's been some support for Buzz Off today. There's the 8 runners and one over the page, and that's Propaganda, number 9 at around the $19 mark. So that's the tote rundown as we go into the betting ring and join up with Tim Gossage.
Thanks very much, Dan. Well, not a lot of action down here. Bookmakers are reeling after Dantalar's impressive victory in the last. But as you said, Grandmaster is the favourite with the bookies. Buzz Off, there has been a little bit of support, but not a great deal. And Backslapper is one at each way odds that everyone is talking about here at the moment. But at the moment, it is Grandmaster, the bookies' favourite.
Tim Gossage in the betting ring. They start at the 200-metre mark here and run down to the first turn and then complete a circuit. Only a small field of 9. Barriers really shouldn't play a part in this race. They're on their way to the gates now. There are the selections. Scrupulous from Jenny Chapman and Richard Friedman. Grandmaster from John Letts and myself. On the other side of this break, we'll be back with the Lean Cuisine Quality. Race 3 at Flemington on Derby Day. Here before the running of the 3rd race on the card, the Lean Cuisine Quality. Roy Higgins is with us as they move in. Roy, how did you mark them?
Pete, I went with the top weight here in Scrupulous. I thought his run the Geelong Cup was good. He has trained on. Ordinary race there, so I marked him on top of Crying Game. He'll give you a good side. He'll be in this for a long way. 3 Buzz Off and 6 Grandmaster, but not a fancy race for mine.
OK, Roy Higgins marking Scrupulous on top in this, the 3rd race on the card. No scratchings, a field of 9. They're moving in quite well. Let's go up and get the last-minute thoughts of Dan Malicki and Gary Willits.
Well, they're certainly moving in very quickly here, Peter, and this is the start of the Derby start, but gee, I like Scrupulous number 1. I thought he looked very well.
Now Backslapper joins the line and they're set to go. 2,500 and they're on their way now. The best to jump away was down in Monterey. Is looking to cross the field and lead. He's able to do that. Scrupulous going forward with Crying Game, and Backslapper's 4 deep in the run to the winning post the first time, but he in turn is looking for the front roll. 1 man out was 5th early, 1 off the fence on its inside Grandmaster, and then Dark Tsar as they sweep out of the straight. 2 lengths away Buzz Off and a length and a half to Propaganda. Backslapper goes to the lead out of the straight. They've got 2,100 metres to go. Backslapper's a length and a half clear. Wants to throw his head about now once he's slackened the speed in front. Scrupulous is second, third the Inside Down in Monterey, and Crying Game is fourth the Outside. Then came Dark Czar, who's trapped a bit wide here. It's 3 deep around 1 man out, and on the rails Grandmaster, 3 lengths away Buzz Off, who's on the outside of Propaganda, and about 8 lengths off the lead. 1,800 metres left to travel. Backslapper in front. It's a length and a quarter clear. Scrupulous second on the outside.